Hi, today I am going to share about The Brutalist, which is a film that I recently watched on HBO for Jewish American Heritage Month, and I really liked this film and thought it was so great. It came out, I believe, at the beginning of this year or last year. I think it released, and I think it came onto HBO at the beginning of the year. So I haven't had the time to watch it yet. It's also, yeah, a little long. It's 3.5 hours. So I watched it at night and I did have trouble staying awake, but this movie was so good that I kept waking back up and restarting and watching again until I finished. It was a very emotional movie and it explored a lot of really deep concepts. It's set in America following the war where Jewish Americans were trying to rebuild their lives after being victims of the Holocaust. And so, not only are they facing occupational challenges with their education and work experience transferring countries, and but they also are facing discrimination and other hardships due to both their religion as well as their ethnic background. So this was really a critique not only of migration and the post-Holocaust refugee experience, but it also touched on issues like disability, of also addiction. And so this was, yeah, just, I mean, many of those concepts and issues are obviously intertwined, but I think that this did a great job on exploring some of these applications for even people who experience, displacement due to war and the like. And so I think that this movie was the best film that I've seen all year, I would say. I mean, it's only May, but it was so exciting. I was so excited about how good I thought it was that I felt like I had to make this video. So, yeah, I'm really excited to just be able to share a little bit more about what I liked. I thought that the acting was really great. I also really liked because it is an era piece, I think that I really liked the costuming and the set design was really good as well. And so, yes, just, I really am someone who loves kind of like a historical fiction, or I'm actually not sure if Laszlo was a real person. Okay, someone says, who is the real? So maybe there is a real person that this is based on, but I mean it wasn't really like saying on the film, I think, that this was like a true story or anything, so I'm just gonna say that it's historical fiction. Even if it is based on this person, it's still, I'm guessing, is a bit of historical fiction. So I just loved it. I thought it was such an interesting film that had so many different chapters to it. I think that one thing that surprised me was how prominent the family became not Laszlo's family, but the family that he was working for. Because at the beginning of the film, I just didn't see, or I didn't expect that character progression, but I guess it actually made a lot of sense. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed the way that this film made me reflect on a lot of the problems that refugees face coming to America, as well as learning how to make a living. I don't know if you know The Wizard Liz, but she talks about this as a part of the trauma that she has had to recover from in her life, was being a refugee, being an immigrant to America, and specifically her mom, formerly, teaching at a university, whose, educational credentials didn't translate over to America, and, she ended up having to rebuild her life and had to find other work. So this is something that I think about more and more as we face, geopolitical tension and change, as well as war and migration that comes with that. How do we continue to value others and value ourselves? I think that was a deep question that was posed by this film, because I think a lot of our perception, and I saw that there was a study or something that came out about how a lot of our perception is actually based on how other people view us. And so, yes, this is something that I reflected on through this film. And I will spoil it right now at 7 minutes in, but they did end up deciding to move back to their homeland because they were facing so much difficulty in America. And I thought that was a really fascinating ending to the film. And then the actual last scene was crazy too. It was second to the last scene. So yeah, it was just yeah, it was just not something that I expected either. And so I wish it was a little left a little open-ended when Laszlo's wife comes and confronts, him for being a rapist. And says, that, on behalf of Laszlo. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I thought that the father's reaction was very interesting, how she says, he's not even defending himself. And then he runs out or goes to bed, but then actually isn't in his bedroom and is nowhere to be found. And I also thought that the son's reaction was very interesting because he's going after his father, trying to appease his father, trying to say that everything's okay, that they kind of fixed or diffused the situation for him. And so I almost wonder whether or not the son knew about what was going on. And in some ways, it kind of echoes Euphoria a little bit. But I thought that was a very fascinating ending to the film, and kind of bugged me a little because I wanted something a little bit more tied together. But I guess that in many ways the full story was, and I guess that response was a response in a way. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the opportunity to learn more about Jewish American heritage and history. I think that learning more about the experiences and cultures of other people is a wonderful gift that we have in being able to better know and love one another and see one another. Something that someone has said was, if you don't see someone, you can't fully love them. And I think that that is something that I have been trying to work on in my life, is really seeing people. I don't want to overlook people, but sometimes we're so busy, we're just caught up in our own mind, or that sort of thing, that we're just not as present as we need to be with other people, and we're not really seeing them as much as we should. And so I loved the opportunity to be able to view films. I also watched a wonderful stand-up special by Hannah, but this is like a feature narrative film that I got to watch for Jewish American Heritage Month, that I hope you all are able to also enjoy and to learn from. And I feel like it really encompassed a lot of what the Jewish American experience was like during that time, and where a lot of the roots of their community lie. And so I hope to be able to view a few more things before the end of the month. It's only the 19th, so I have about, a couple of more weeks. And so, yes, I am grateful that you are still here listening. Thank you for just being here and for listening. I hope to see you next time.